The pregnant widow moved into the forest trailer, and the ground started breathing. This is a true story, and I can't begin to express how terrifying everything I'm about to share was, happening in the dense woods of Black Mountain, North Carolina, during the autumn of 2015. Before I continue this true supernatural account, subscribe to hear the full story that forever changed my understanding of life and death. The ground beneath us pulsed like a living heartbeat, while faint whispers rose from the soil, calling my unborn child's name in soft, pleading tones, reverberating through the stillness of the forest. As night fell, the air grew inexplicably cold, brushing against my skin with icy fingers that drove goosebumps along my arms, while the musty scent of wet earth mixed with a lingering sweetness reminiscent of blooming honeysuckle, strangely out of season. A metallic taste of fear settled on my tongue with every step outside, warning me of the unknown danger lurking in the shadows that no one else could sense. Alone and desperate, with only my growing baby to protect, I had moved into this trailer after my husband's tragic death, hoping for peace. What I uncovered was a realm of spirits tethered to this land, emerging through the very ground, which writhes and shifts as if trying to swallow me whole. It was the shadows at dusk that unsettled me first. That pulsing beneath my feet felt like something awakening, and I couldn't shake the sensation that the earth was trying to communicate with me. I often found myself joking half-heartedly to the soil about needing peace to prepare for the baby's arrival. Truthfully, I was beginning to feel a gnawing fear that something sinister lurked below. Every creak of the trailer sent my heart racing, my instinct to protect my unborn child battling the peculiar allure of the land. That first night, as I tucked myself into the small bed surrounded by mismatched blankets, the whispers grew louder, softer than the wind, yet filled with desperation. Help us, they seemed to beckon, raising the question, were they voices of protection or pleas for acknowledgement? The chill seeped through the thin walls, dread pooling in my stomach, urging me to flee, even as my heart compelled me to understand. "What do you want?" I whispered into the dark, only to be met with the thrum from beneath. It was both a reminder of my purpose and a jolt of fear. As days turned to weeks, I dove into old journals left scattered in the damp trailer, tales of sorrow and tragic losses woven with the fabric of the forest. Their words vibrated with a desperate echo in the whispers. They just want to be heard, I thought one evening, sitting cross-legged on the floorboards, feeling a warmth against my back that reassured me I wasn't alone. Emboldened by the life within me, I decided to confront the whispers. "Whoever you are, I hear you," I called out into the encroaching darkness. Yet, as I spoke, the warmth shifted, transforming into a suffocating chill that gripped me tightly. "Get out!" a voice hissed through the chorus. Overwhelming terror surged through me as a shadow flickered past the window. What would you have done if you were in my place, feeling a presence threatening your child? Tell me in the comments below. In a panic, I reached out to the local historian, a woman versed in the land's connection to the past. She listened in wide-eyed disbelief as I shared my experiences. "The earth remembers everything, even the tragedies that occurred," she murmured, her face pale. "You stand on sacred ground. They see you as a new hope." Suddenly, I began to discern patterns in the whispers, flashes of warning from times long forgotten. "We are here to protect you," they urged, but their urgency was laced with the warnings I was too naive to understand. But everything changed one harrowing night. As I lay sleeping, the ground erupted beneath me, shaking violently as if trying to expel me. "You don't belong here," I screamed into the darkness, terror mingling with raw desperation as I clutched my belly, praying for safety. The truth about what I discovered that night will haunt me forever. Make sure notifications are turned on for part 2. In that moment, the spirits unveiled their true nature, sharing glimpses of their past filled with love and loss. They weren't here to cause harm. They wanted to protect me, a mother-to-be caught within their realm. Their desperate attempts to relay their warnings began to resonate deep within me. What we often perceive as hauntings are usually echoes of unfinished stories, spirits yearning to convey truths we're too afraid to hear. Suddenly, the floorboards groaned beneath me, not in protest, but in some ancient recognition that I had finally begun to understand. The air shimmered with energy, thick and charged, as if the spirits were drawing closer to me, desperate to break through the barriers that separated our worlds. I felt their pain, their need to be acknowledged, but a fierce dread flickered over me, mingling with the empathy I was beginning to feel. "What do you want from me?" I whispered into the oppressive darkness, no longer sure where fear ended and compassion began. With each heartbeat, I could feel the pulsation of the earth, its urgency intensifying like a drum roll before an impending storm. I took a shaky breath, willing myself to stay grounded. "If you seek to warn me, show me more," I urged. In response, lights flickered from the candles I had lit, casting long, flickering shadows that danced along the walls. The whispers crescendoed, their syntax crystallizing with clarity. "Below," they said, layered over one another, echoing in my mind like a haunting melody. It was in that moment something shifted within me. I was no longer a mere observer, but an active participant in this ethereal ballet. I remembered the stories of the miners who had once toiled in these hills, tales of families destroyed by collapsing tunnels, and restless souls wandering, never to find peace. Was this their plea for freedom? "What must I do?" I pressed, almost breathless. The force of the whispers surged, pressing against the very air around me, as if urging me to uncover the truth buried underneath the trailer, to dig deep into the soft, dark earth that had started to feel like a living entity. A heavy weight settled upon my heart, warning me of the dangers that lay hidden, of the untold secrets waiting to be unearthed. Just then, the earth shuddered again, but this time it came with a warmth that spread like tendrils through my feet. I gasped in shock as the vibrations coalesced into something distinct. A voice, yet not a voice. "Behind the wall," it murmured softly, as if brushing against my thoughts rather than speaking aloud. My legs moved instinctively, leading me to the back wall of the trailer. My hands trembled as I touched the cold, rough surface, feeling the ground's energy humming beneath the layers of wood. "What's hidden in here?" I murmured, fingers tracing along the lines of a faded, worn pattern, the swirling designs echoing a language older than I could comprehend. I could feel it now, a presence coiled tight within the walls, presiding over a truth both horrific and beautiful. Every inch of me urged to delve deeper, but fear of the unknown still loomed over me. If only I could unlock this. Suddenly, a violent tremor rattled the room, knocking me off balance. My heart raced, and panic flooded my veins. "What do you want?" I screamed, desperation mingling with fury. "I can't help if you don't show me." The shadows flickered with impatience, the air thick with unspoken words vibrating around me. It was overwhelming, the electricity of their proximity, charged with fear and hope. The urge to run surged within me, but I knew fleeing wouldn't bring solace. It would only deepen the divide. Wavering between trembling fear and fragile courage, I gritted my teeth and pressed on. "I'll listen. Show me." As if in reply, an icy wind flowed through the trailer, carrying with it the scent of coal dust and something floral, remnants of a bygone era. I stumbled back, overwhelmed, but stayed rooted to the spot, my determination steeling me against the chilling draft. I could hear it now, clearer than before, a name whispered with longing. Maggie. It was connecting. They had a story to tell, a narrative stitched into the fabric of this desolate place. The name echoed again, and with it came a flood of memories, images swirling in my mind. A woman with sorrowful eyes and hands stained by the earth, calling to children whom she could never protect. "Maggie, what happened to you?" I breathed, my heart aching for her lost life. A sudden rush overcame me, and the spirit's sorrow crashed into my own, igniting a spark of recognition. I realized that Maggie wasn't just a memory. She was intertwined with this land, a spirit that had been echoing out, begging to share her story for generations. As her essence enveloped me, I understood the dance of protection and despair. "You're trying to warn me," I whispered, realization dawning. "You want me to help you, help the others." As I stood there, heart racing, I discovered something profound. Their desperation shifted from fear to purpose. The whispers no longer felt threatening. They were invitations to dig deeper into this legacy of loss, to uncover the stories bound to this ground. "I hear you, Maggie," I vowed. "I will not turn away. I'll find the truth." With a newfound determination, I prepared to dig into the soil beneath me, convinced there were truths hidden that would yield not just the spirits trapped within, but perhaps also grant peace to my own heart. The floorboards still throbbed beneath me, now a sonorous reminder of lives lived and lost, urging me to take that first step into the darkness. "I promise I will help you find peace," I vowed, ready to embrace whatever the spirits needed from me. "You're not alone anymore." I knelt down to the floor, my fingers tingling with anticipation and fear as I pressed against the boards. The rhythmic pulsing beneath my palms echoed the whispers swirling in my mind, beckoning me to uncover the secrets lying just out of reach. I could feel their energy urging me to act. "How do I begin?" I murmured to Maggie, my heart pounding in sync with the pulse of the earth. The air thickened with warmth, filling the trailer with a sense of calm. I pulled a flashlight from a nearby drawer, its beam piercing the dark. I directed it to a corner where the edge of the floor creaked ominously. The whispers rose in intensity, their inflection rising, guiding me to that very spot where the shadows hung heavy. My heartbeat echoed in my ears, the thrill of the impending revelation drowning out all rational thought. With one final deep breath, I started to pry the floorboards loose, each splintered sound mirroring my trepidation. "Stay with me, Maggie," I whispered, knowing she was the reason for this venture into darkness. The nails holding the boards in place were rusted but gave way surprisingly easily as I leveraged the crowbar I found in the shed. With each board lifted, the air shifted. Between the terrible anticipation and the scent of damp earth, I could almost taste the history trapped beneath the surface. Familiar scents spiraled up to envelop me. Coal and earth mingled with something akin to the sweetness of lilacs, pulling at long-buried memories of childhood longings. At last, I uncovered a small, dark cavity beneath the floor, just a foot deep, but deep enough to hide a world of secrets. The shadows pooled around the opening like sentinels. I leaned closer, focusing the beam of my flashlight into the hollow. What I saw sent a jolt through my system. There lay a bundle of tattered cloth, frayed and weathered, tied tightly with a piece of old twine that seemed to pulse with its own energy. "What is this?" I breathed, slowly reaching in to retrieve it. My fingers brushed against the fabric, sending a jolt of warmth coursing through me. The whispers crescendoed into a roar. "Maggie, is this yours?" I called out. The shadows flickered erratically, a response I could only interpret as urgency. I carefully tugged the bundle free, the cloth unraveling to reveal a faded photograph. It depicted a woman resembling the spirit I had encountered, standing with a group of children, their smiles bright against a backdrop of the forest, alive with memories, love, and oddly, a hint of sorrow. "Is this your family, Maggie?" I asked, holding the photo against my chest. "What happened to them?" The shadows around me crackled with energy, compelling me to understand the weight of loss they carried. The air thickened, the atmosphere charged, as the presence of the spirit enveloped me more closely. A soft breeze surged through the trailer, tugging at my clothes as though urging me to move. "There's more, isn't there?" I realized aloud, fear mingling with determination. My eyes darted back to the opening in the floor, searching again for any hidden message. Suddenly, as I reached in, my fingers grazed against something cold and metal, a small locket lying just below the surface. With renewed urgency, I pulled it free and felt its weight in my hand. The locket was intricately engraved with delicate floral patterns, overgrown with the passage of time. I clicked it open, and within, I found another photograph, a close-up of a child with big, bright eyes that seemed to watch me closely and sparkle with joy. "Who is this?" I asked, unable to shake the sensation that the child was watching me, guiding me toward understanding. Just then, the shadows coalesced, and a voice emerged from the depths, soft yet firm. "Protect." The message reverberated through me, the plea mingling with the energy of both Maggie and the child in the locket. "I promise I will protect them." The words spilled from my lips with a fervor I had never known before. The air around me shifted again, no longer heavy with despair, but filled with purpose. They just wanted to be remembered, didn't they? I realized aloud, the realization illuminating the path ahead. You are still here, watching over this land, over your family. The intensity of my bond with the spirits deepened as a protective mantle encompassed me, urging me to honor their memory through action. "Let's bring you home," I whispered, resolute in my mission. "Let's tell your story." My heart swelled with newfound purpose, blending with the spirit of Maggie, the child, and those lost within the shadows of this place. Inspired, I thought about the history surrounding me, the miners, the families torn apart. I would share their stories, show the world the legacy they left behind, and seek justice for their unfulfilled lives. Collecting myself, I took a moment to breathe in the current of warmth that surrounded me, grounding me in my knowledge that I was not alone in this endeavor. The shadows danced playfully around me, their energy now comforting. "Together, we'll uncover the truth," I affirmed, clutching the locket tightly, ready to face whatever lay ahead. With a spirit of courage burning brightly within me, I stepped out into the woods surrounding the trailer, a fierce protector ready to honor Maggie and her family by unearthing the history trapped beneath the soil. "You're safe now," I promised, emboldened by their presence. "This time, your story will be told." As I stepped into the woods, the thick canopy of leaves overhead shifted, filtering the sunlight into a warm gold that felt eerily comforting. The branches whispered in the breeze, echoing the serenade of forgotten dreams. I could almost hear Maggie's voice blend with the rustle of the leaves, guiding me toward the heart of the woods where their stories were hidden. Where do I begin? I pondered aloud, the weight of purpose settling upon my shoulders like a cloak. With each step deeper into the forest, The familiar sights and sounds morphed into an ethereal tapestry, woven with unseen threads of history. Shadows lingered just beyond my sight, lingering just out of frame, watching, protecting, ready to reveal more of their tragic journey. As I moved forward, the whispers grew clearer, no longer merely echoing my fears, but speaking truths that demanded acknowledgement. I followed a narrow path leading to an old stone wall, the remnants of what once was a mining operation. Its stones weathered and cracked, yet retained the strength of its struggles. This is where it started, I breathed, recognizing it as a significant threshold between the past and present. Here, where lives were lost and stories were buried. The air shifted, becoming charged with the energy of the spirits, urging me onward. With trembling hands, I brushed away layers of dirt and foliage, revealing an inscription etched into the stone. It read, "For those who gave their lives below, we remember." The words resonated deeply within me, pulling at my heartstrings, igniting a sense of urgency. It was time for their stories to be told, their sacrifices recognized. My mind raced with possibilities. Each name represented a life full of dreams and aspirations, cut short beneath the heavy toll of forgotten tragedies. I have to tell their stories, I declared to the forest, allowing the weight of their pain wash over me, mingling with my own. I will make sure no one forgets. Looking back at the locket, I felt an unshakable bond forming between me and those trapped souls yearning for vindication and peace. They tied me to this moment, locking me into a pact of protection and remembrance. "I can help you," I said firmly. "Together we'll spread your stories. We will shake the earth to share your truths." Suddenly, a chill danced across my skin, the air thickening as shadows spun around me, swirling like a storm. "Behind you," the voice whispered urgently, rising like smoke through the trees. My heart raced as I turned, scanning the dense woods around me, but found only the sunlight filtering through the leaves. The sensation of being watched intensified, and an indescribable dread washed over me. "I'm not afraid," I whispered defiantly into the cacophony of whispers and rustling leaves. "I have a story to tell." Just then, I caught sight of a flicker, a movement at the corner of my eye. I turned sharply, my heart pounding, as a figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette blurred in the dappled sunlight. "Is it you, Maggie?" My breath caught in my throat. "Show me, please." The figure shifted closer, revealing a faintly illuminated outline of a woman holding a small child's hand. Goosebumps peppered my skin, my instincts flaring with a mix of fear and awe. "What do you want from me?" I pleaded, desperate to understand. "Find the others," the figure rasped, a faint melodic voice emerging from the chaos. "Set them free." I felt a chill wash over me at her words, but there was no hostility, only a deep-rooted sorrow coupled with hope. The ground began to tremble beneath me, and I braced myself against the stone wall, feeling the vibrations urging me to act. "I will," I promised, clutching the locket tightly. "I'll find them. I will bring justice to your memory." The figure nodded slowly, her expression softening as the shadows grew thicker, twirling around her like a woven cloak. "Thank you," she whispered, then faded back into the forest's depths, leaving behind a palpable warmth and an inviting clarity. For just a moment, I stood still, processing what had just unfolded. I was lost in the uncertainty of the moment, realizing the weight of responsibility resting heavily upon me. "Protect them," the voice echoed in my mind, a constant reminder of my newfound purpose. With renewed vigor, I exited the stone circle and set off down another path, the forest echoing a symphony of warnings and encouragement. I had to gather evidence to uncover the lives that constituted the stories of those long forgotten. The families, the victims, their names must be known, I exclaimed to the woods. We cannot ignore this any longer. As I ventured deeper, clearing away the underbrush with determination, I stumbled upon bits of rusted metal, a mining helmet, and other debris, remnants of a life lost to negligence. The cool metal reminded me of their sacrifices, igniting a fire in my belly to bring forth the truth. I crouched down, examining the items, hoping they would lead me to more discoveries and stories to unearth. The whispers grew louder, and the shadows seemed to lean in, urging me onward as I collected the remnants of those once forgotten. Each piece I found was a step closer to honoring their memories, affirming that they would not be lost to time and neglect. Suddenly, a spark caught my eye amid the dirt and debris, a glimmering shard of glass, jagged yet beautiful in the sunlight. I reached for it, feeling its energy thrumming against my fingertips. It was the last piece to fit into this growing mosaic of memory. Perhaps it held the key to their stories, serving as a lens through which I could safely navigate their history. As I stood up, clutching the glass tightly, the weight of what was ahead settled comfortably on my shoulders. I won't let you down, I said quietly, hoping my words would reach those still trapped in a limbo of despair. I will ensure that you are remembered, that your stories continue to breathe. The shadows shimmered around me, a gentle embrace that calmed my racing heart. I stepped back toward the trailer, feeling the power of the spirits guiding my way. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but the weight of my purpose transformed that fear into determination. Together, we would reveal the truth that had been buried for far too long. As I turned back toward the trailer, the once familiar trail now felt different. It was as if the very earth pulsed beneath my feet, resonating with the voices of those I was determined to help. The shadows danced playfully around me, cloaked figures from long ago, whispering encouragement in the rustling leaves, propelling me toward the truth. I could sense Maggie and her family gathering their strength alongside me, their stories intertwining with my resolve. When I reached the trailer, the air inside felt charged, alive with anticipation. The dim light filtering through the windows cast flickering shapes against the walls, reminiscent of the spirits I had encountered. I dropped the treasures I had gathered onto the rickety kitchen table, a helmet, an old photograph, a glimmering shard of glass, and stared at them, each possessing a weighty history entwined with loss and longing. "This is just the beginning," I declared, my voice steady, echoing off the peeling walls of the trailer. "We have so much to uncover." I began examining the photograph more closely, tracing my finger along the faces captured in that fleeting moment of joy. The child's bright eyes flickered in my memory, and I sensed an affiliation growing between us. "What do you want to tell me?" I murmured, leaning closer. Suddenly, the air thickened again, transforming from warm safety to bone-chilling dread. I turned to face the corner of the room where shadows converged, forming into a more defined shape. A figure cloaked in darkness, its edges indistinct yet palpable. "Who are you?" I breathed, every instinct screaming at me to step back. Yet my curiosity held me firmly in place. "Protect." "The names," the shadow murmured, its voice a haunting echo that reverberated deep within my core. "The history, forgotten." In that moment, I felt the shadows wrapping around me tighter, as if the spirits were trying to shield me from something lurking just outside their protective embrace. My heart raced, but I couldn't let fear paralyze me. I realized that every name was a soul, a living story waiting to be acknowledged, and here was yet another spirit asking for help. I will protect your stories, I promised, looking straight into the shadow's void, my determination bubbling to the surface. I will make sure you are remembered. The shadow appeared to shimmer at my words, and slowly it began to recede, merging back into the folds of darkness in the corner where it had emerged. "Thank you," it whispered, a sound filled with raw emotion, and the atmosphere shifted, suddenly lighter. I stepped forward, seeking to further understand the significance of the items I had discovered. The helmet caught my eye first, its rusted surface telling countless tales of bravery and hardship. As I held it, I could almost hear the distant sound of pickaxes and muffled laughter echoing from the mines. "Was this your helmet?" I wondered aloud. "Did you still have dreams left unfulfilled?" The entity surrounding me stirred, almost like a breeze, beckoning me toward the next revelation. I realized that every object I uncovered was a thread to pull at, a narrative to unravel. There was a method to the madness, a clear path leading me deeper into the heart of the lost histories. Setting the helmet down carefully, I reached for the glass shard, whose glimmer seemed now to pulse with energy. Its jagged edges reflected the light in a kaleidoscope of colors that danced playfully around the room, illuminating the tale locked within. "Is this part of your story too?" I asked the silence, suspending my fear for a moment to embrace the beauty in this journey. As I inspected the shard more closely, the air shifted again. Subtle vibrations coursed through my fingertips, and before I knew it, visions began unraveling before my eyes, scenes from the past filled with bartering, laughter, arguments, and a flurry of life in the mines. I could see miners preparing to work, hope in their eyes, and a promise of pay to provide for their families. Then the scenes grew darker, the laughter replaced by muffled screams and desperate cries for help echoing from the depths of earth and darkness. "No!" I cried, shaking my head against the vivid echoes, my heart breaking at the unimaginable loss. "Help is coming, I promise." I squeezed the shard tightly, as if trying to transfer my resolve into it. I saw flashes of names, uncounted lives, all flickering like dying embers. A name emerged distinctly from the turmoil: Henry. It hung in the air like the last breath of a bygone era. The craving for remembrance surged within me. "Henry," I repeated, trying to anchor it to the present. "I will honor you." The visions faded, allowing me to gather myself. I took notes vigorously, scribbling down every detail and name I could recall. Places, faces, feelings, they all needed to exist beyond the void of neglect. I couldn't ignore what I had seen. It needed to flow into the world, to reach the ears and hearts of those who could listen. Hours melted away as I poured my heart into the pages, valiant souls spilling forth from the remnants of their lives, until the light outside the trailer dimmed to a dusky gray. I had created a map of memories that beckoned further exploration, connecting names and events, painting a story ripe for resurrection. As twilight settled in, a shiver of foreboding danced down my spine. "Is anyone there?" I called to the lingering shadows. The air was still, eerily quiet, and a thick tension locked the space around me. Just then, my flashlight flickered, momentarily plunging the room into darkness. Suddenly, a cold breeze rushed against my skin, and I felt presence drawing near with a palpable urgency. "Henry?" I whispered, trembling slightly, unsure if I truly wanted to know the answers. "Can you hear me?" A figure emerged slowly from the periphery, brighter than before, yet undefined, like a mirage of hope swirling with the shadows. "Remember," it urged, its voice heavy with emotion. "Bear the truth of our fate." I felt my heart surge with determination, and I took a step toward the figure. "I promise to protect your stories." As I spoke, the dark space filled with flickering light, a myriad of memories cascading down like gentle rain. I could see fragments of their lives swirling in the air, illuminating the room like constellations forming. The remnants converged, whispering their stories of toil and love, laughter and sorrow, planting themselves firmly in my heart. As I stood amidst the swirling energies, I felt them sprout wings, lifting, glowing with the intention of reclaiming their forgotten truths. "Your voices will not fade into oblivion," I declared, raising the glass shard and the items I had collected. "Together, we will ensure that no one forgets the sacrifices made here. Your stories will be woven into the tapestry of history." As the luminescence danced around me, the figure of Henry began to smile. A quiet yet fierce satisfaction spread across his ethereal form. I understood now. It wasn't just about memorializing. They sought justice, healing, and the chance for others to learn from their past mistakes. "What will happen now?" I asked softly, ready to embrace whatever the spirits had in store for me. "Continue," Henry urged, his voice a gentle whisper. "Seek them out and let their voices lead the way." With that, the light began to envelop me, swirling with renewed vigor. Each name, each life streaming forth like tendrils of hope. I stood no longer as a mere vessel, but as a bridge between their past and the world yet to come, ready to unleash the stories crying out for liberty. Tonight, I had been divinely chosen to bring their narratives to life, to affirm that they would not be lost beneath the sands of time. Every story from that moment on would echo across generations, a testament to their existence, and I was ready to fulfill my promise. As the shadows fell long beneath the fading light, I felt the warmth of their presence surrounding me. Together, as one force, we were setting forth on a journey to remember, to protect, and to ensure that the forgotten would rise once more beneath the glow of shared memories, shining brightly against the darkness that had once threatened to consume them. The air hummed with energy as I stood in the center of the trailer, wrapped in the ethereal light that pulsed with the spirit of determination. Each breath filled my lungs with the warmth of purpose, while shadows danced around me, urging me to honor their stories. "I will bring you back," I whispered, ready to fulfill my promise to those who had suffered. With renewed resolve, I began to arrange my gathered items on the table: the mining helmet, the cherished photograph, and the shimmering glass shard that resonated with untold stories. "Together, we will weave your legacies into the tapestry of history," I declared, lifting the glass shard high, infusing my words with a vow to honor their memories. The shadows seemed to shift excitedly, and the figure of Henry, shining with a newfound clarity, smiled back at me. His presence filled the room, radiating support as he affirmed, "Continue, seek them out. Their voices will lead the way." I nodded at his guidance, feeling the light envelop me further, illuminating a path to uncover forgotten names and tales. Inspiration surged within me, ignited by the connection I felt to the spirits. It was time to amplify their stories, to share loudly the legacies they cherished. Diving into research online, I sought out local historians, miners associations, and community libraries. I wanted to connect the current community with its past, uncovering the threads that had been severed by tragedy. As I navigated through articles and databases, I felt a sense of urgency. The families, the miners, every single person counts, I reminded myself, each click of the mouse a step further into the web of forgotten stories. Hours melted away, and the depth of their pain resonated with each new detail I discovered. I grew fixated, scrolling through a landscape of old newspaper articles, sigils of struggles and resilience etched in ink on frayed pages. Every statistic suggested vast numbers of lives lost, but failed to tell the stories of individuals. "This is unacceptable," I murmured fiercely. "You deserve more than a numbered history." In the glow of my computer, an email notification pinged, breaking my focus. "A response!" I exclaimed, anticipation bubbling up. As I opened the message from a local historian, Mr. Findley, my heart raced. Get ready, I thought, excitement gripping me at the prospect of deeper insights. The following morning, I drove to the Historical Society, nestled amidst rolling hills and surrounded by trees that had witnessed time's passage. As I stepped inside, warmth enveloped me, filled with artifacts, sighing with memories. Photography on the walls and old tools brought history alive, reminding me of the human endeavor behind every success and failure. Mr. Findley approached me with a welcoming smile, ready to engage in our shared passion for history. After introducing myself and sharing the fragments I had collected, he agreed to help me untangle the legacies woven into this land. "So many stories are here, waiting for someone brave enough to seek them," he said, gesturing toward our surroundings. "Together we can piece them back together," I replied passionately, eager to dive deep into the lore of the miners. As he pulled newspaper clippings and photographs from folders, a tapestry of lives unfurled before me. Each name had a face. Each face held a story, and every story demanded to be honored. "We've got families who have lived and died in these hills," Mr. Findley explained. "Their stories are both heartbreaking and uplifting, a reflection of endurance." I leaned closer, captivated. "Their struggles can't be forgotten," I declared. "They deserve recognition. Every sacrifice must be remembered." The room vibrated with the shared energy of our mission. Together, we began documenting names and connecting them with events long eclipsed by time. Each thread I pulled led to new stories, sparks of identity waiting to be ignited. I felt like a detective unearthing hidden treasures, piecing together a magnificent puzzle that would shed light on their lives. As we worked, I felt the spirits hovering, offering encouragement, the whispers of strength mingling with our conversations. Every time I wrote down a name, I imagined how the family would feel if they knew their loved one would be remembered again. "This is just the beginning," I told myself, my resolve steeling with each discovery. After hours of digging into the past, Mr. Findley paused to lean back in his chair, a glint of concern flickering across his features. "These stories exist on paper, but what about the families? We cannot just leave it as is. We must connect the past to the present." He was right. "We need to reach out to descendants," I replied, bubbling with determination. "We'll bring them back to these memories." With a plan in sight, we delved into records, searching for contact information that would link us to families living today. The idea of gathering these descendants stirred something deep within me. It wasn't just about history. It was about healing wounds still fresh, making connections across time. As the day transitioned into twilight, I felt a burgeoning hope coalesce around us. With every thread we uncovered, we were reinforcing the bonds of community and illuminating long-neglected narratives. "We are doing important work," I said solemnly, allowing the emotion to strengthen my conviction. In the following weeks, we worked with various community leaders, reaching out to families in the area. Each conversation revitalized memories and reignited forgotten passions within me as I learned about loved ones lost. "These are not just stories, they're the living essence of our community," I affirmed. I realized we weren't just digging up history, we were unearthing collective healing. Connecting, honoring, and ultimately celebrating those lives led to a stronger community that faced the dark history together. And then one evening, as I sifted through the remnants of letters and photos in my home, a familiar warmth enveloped me once more. I felt the energy of Maggie and the miners, their hopes reflected in the memories that flowed like a tidal wave. "Is this what you meant?" I whispered to the shadows dancing in the corners of my vision. "All these stories coming together?" With renewed assurance, I laid the collected stories out, chronicling families side by side. Their pains and triumphs merged, creating an intricate web of narratives celebrating resilience. The culmination of this effort began to transform into thoughts of an event, a gathering where all would come to share, remember, and heal together, to breathe life back into the honored past. "I know what we need to do," I announced enthusiastically as I mapped it out, understanding they wanted to be seen just as much as I needed them to be known. As the final drafts began to fall into place, I felt an invigorating pulse surround me, each soul driven forward, demanding recognition and resolution. "This is for you," I promised as the flickering light illuminated my workspace. With newly discovered stories, both deep and rich, I was determined to create a shared history that breathed alive in us all, igniting the souls forgotten in the shadows. The journey to remember had just begun, each revelation the spirits gifted to me propelling us all toward healing. I would carry these stories forward, ensuring that from that day on, no one would stand alone in the haunting silence of history. Their stories would rise, echoing through the ages, reclaiming ground lost to silence. The days turned into a blur of preparation, filled with a whirlwind of calls and emails. I reached out to families, inviting them to an event dedicated to resurrecting the memories of their loved ones, a gathering to honor the lives intertwined with loss and resilience. I envisioned an evening filled with shared stories, artifacts, and the palpable connection of those past and present crossing the threshold of time. As the date neared, I dedicated every waking hour to organizing details. Flyers adorned local shops, community boards filled with announcements, and the excitement buzzed among the townspeople. Each conversation brought new commitments as people returned words of encouragement, eager to participate and rekindle the spirit of memories long buried. Despite the optimism surrounding the event, shadows of doubt crept in late at night. I'd often find myself staring into the darkness, wondering if I was capable of capturing the essence of those lost, the weight of the stories overwhelming. What if they are disappointed? I worried, wrapping my arms around myself as if I could shelter my fears. But then I would recall the faith I felt in the presence of Maggie and the miners urging me forward. "No," I whispered to the empty room, "I have to do this right, for you." On the eve of the event, as I finalized the program, the energy surrounding me shifted. A cool breeze wafted through the open window, carrying with it the scent of fresh earth, a distinct reminder of the hollers and valleys where the miners once toiled. With every letter I typed and every story I typed, I was met with warm encouragement, as if a silent chorus of spirits praised my efforts. "You're not alone. We are here," they seemed to say, igniting a flame of unyielding resolve within me. The day of the gathering arrived, and I arrived early, both excited and nervous, to set up the space. We chose the old community hall, which held countless memories within its walls, echoes of laughter and sorrow mingled beneath the paint. As the sunlight streamed through the cracked windows, I set the tables with photographs, stories folded neatly with names penned at the top, and artifacts displayed in all their glory. A true testament to lives once lived, sacrifices made, and resilience shown. Families began to trickle in, and I felt an electric charge in the space. Invitations had included the promise of food and shared laughter, but the true gift was the collective remembrance they would share. I watched as old friends embraced, families reconnecting with love that had been dulled by time. As the clock chimed the appointed hour, I stood before the gathered crowd, my heart racing with anticipation. "Thank you all for being here today," I began, the sound of my voice steady despite the fluttering in my chest. "We have come together to celebrate the lives and stories that define us, to remember the sacrifices made and the spirits that still walk with us." The murmurs of agreement echoed through the audience as I introduced the event, urging everyone to share their stories. You are the keepers of these memories, and it is within your voices that they can be brought back to life. One by one, families took the floor. I listened enraptured as stories unfolded, laughter intertwined with tears. Each tale was a priceless jewel, illuminating lives filled with both struggles and joys. I could see those spirits smiling from the shadowed corners as every name was pronounced, every moment honored. Time flew as more stories were shared, and it felt as though the very walls of the hall were vibrating with the power of the memories being revived. Each story connected the spirits, threading them together like a brilliant tapestry punctuated by laughter and shared sorrow. One woman spoke about her grandfather's courage. Another shared how an unexpected tragedy forever changed their family. Sometimes the most ordinary moments become the most profound, one elderly gentleman reminisced, eyes glistening with remembrance. I wish I could go back and tell him how much we loved him. The air grew thick with emotion as I watched families connect, their histories forming bridges that brought distant generations together. Sharing a meal, laughter, and stories became a beautiful exchange, forging bonds that reminded us of our shared humanity. As the event continued, a hush fell over the room, and another soul stepped forward, an elderly woman named Clara, her hands shaking slightly. "I have something I'd like to share," she said, her voice trembling but warm. "My husband, Robert, worked the mines for decades. He brought strength to our family, but the toll, it was too much. He lost his life, and I've carried that pain with me. I've longed to tell his story and to remember him not just for how he died, but for how he lived." The room fell silent, and I could hear the breathless anticipation surrounding her as she recounted Robert's life, a tale of love that had weathered storms, cherished moments spent raising their children, and the hope that defined their family. "It was Robert who taught me that love is an unbreakable bond woven with understanding and respect," Clara continued, her words barely above a whisper. "And today, I share his story, not as a reminder of sorrow, but as a celebration of a life well lived." Tears streamed down my cheeks, overwhelmed by her strength and the powerful lesson within her story. I witnessed the energy shift in the room as Clara spoke, the spirits around us thriving as we recognized that Robert's legacy lived on through the love he imparted to his family. At that moment, I realized the true significance of this gathering. We were stitching together not only our losses, but also the triumphant spirit that weaved through our histories, a legacy of resilience and togetherness that knitted hearts together. As I looked around the room, I saw family members whispering to one another, passing stories like treasures among each other, creating a shared commitment to remember, to honor, and to rise together. "Knowing you are here to keep these stories alive means the world," I said, my voice steadying once more. "Together, we are reclaiming not just our histories, but the ties that bind us as a community." With renewed vigor, I proposed that our gathering wouldn't be a one-time event. Let's continue to meet, to share, and revive these stories until they are in every household, every heart, I urged, the collective energy surging at the prospect of a renewed tradition. Together, we envisioned gatherings that would allow subsequent generations to uncover their legacies, illuminating the past for all to see. Every tear, every laugh, every journey was a vital part of the larger narrative that spoke to our shared existence. As time wore on, the evening turned to night, and we lit candles in memory of those lost, shadows dancing brightly against the hall walls. Maggie's glow mingled with the warm rush of recognition that enveloped us all. Their stories would never be lost again. We honored their legacies, not through silence, but through voices vibrant, echoed, and intertwined, reminding us that the past shapes our future. I felt the fire of their spirits flooding through the hall, finally at peace, knowing their stories would endure, living on boldly in the hearts of those who remembered. Together, we had carved a path from darkness into light, one filled with resilience, understanding, and love. In that moment, I knew that the journey to remember was far from over. It had just begun. The night deepened gently as the last flickers of candlelight cast tender shadows across the room. The atmosphere was alive with the echoes of shared memories, a comforting embrace that grew stronger with every story we'd resurrected. As families lingered, reluctant to leave this sanctuary of remembrance, I felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over me. Let's make this a tradition, I proposed, looking at the small group that had gathered around me. We should meet quarterly, keep sharing our stories, and build this community. Nods of agreement and murmurs circulated through the crowd, each idea sparking more enthusiasm. We can create a scrapbook to celebrate each gathering, Clara suggested eagerly. Let's capture the stories and faces of those we love. Excitement buzzed in the air as others chimed in. We could invite local historians to speak and make every gathering a family day. The conversation flowed, weaving together ideas that filled the hall with purpose. In that moment, it became clear this was not just a night of remembering. It was the birth of a movement, a reconnection to our roots and our shared identity. As time wore on, we lit candles in memory of those we'd lost, light dancing brightly against the hall's walls. I felt the spirits of Maggie and the miners move alongside us, reassuring their presence in the room. "Thank you for bringing us all together," I whispered, and the warmth surrounding me felt like a response. Eventually, families began to drift toward the exits, taking with them the glow of connection we'd fostered together. Each hug exchanged was a promise, a commitment to keep the stories alive. "We will meet again," I reassured Clara and the others, excitement and warmth flooding my chest. "In 2 months, let's gather again." Once everyone had left, I remained in the hall, still surrounded by the remnants of the night's gathering. The echoes of voices that united us in remembrance lingered like a gentle hum in the air. As I began to collect the leftover refreshments, I felt a deep responsibility to honor the stories shared. I knew I needed to document what I had witnessed, transforming spoken stories into written legacies that could be cherished for generations to come. The next day, I organized everything, my heart buoyed by the success of the gathering. With each name I wrote down, I felt the pulse of those histories connecting to the pages. Every story a testament to resilience, love, and the journeys born out of loss. Exhaustion washed over me, but it felt like a satisfying weight, reminding me of the meaningful work unfolding in front of me. I realized that the journey had led me here, standing at the intersection of loss and remembrance, a guardian of memory tasked with ensuring that our shared stories lived on. As I penned page after page, each letter resonated with life. I didn't just document history, I helped manifest a vibrant legacy, a collection of truths that celebrated the lives intertwined with ours. With every story transformed into words, I envisioned how our community would grow, how we could gather and share together, lighting the paths for those who came after us. Soon, the idea of a dedicated space for our memories began to form in my mind, a living archive, a testament to the interconnectedness of our lives. I pictured future gatherings where families could continue to explore these stories together, uncovering new connections between the past and present. Days turned into weeks as I worked tirelessly, weaving the narratives together with thoughtful precision. The warmth of our gathered stories fueled this effort, each tale a reminder that we were not only preserving the past, but participating in a powerful act of healing. As I compiled the stories, I felt a surge of anticipation. This was merely the beginning of something profound, a journey that would transcend the boundaries of loss and embrace the beauty of understanding. I knew that the path ahead would not always be easy, but with the stories as our guiding light, we would ensure that no one stood alone in darkness. Through our collective voices, we could illuminate the path for future generations, ensuring that the legacies of those who came before us would never fade. United by remembrance, we would continue to tell these stories, stitching together lives with love, resilience, and the promise of hope for the future. I felt ready, determined to carry this legacy forward, fueling a fire of remembrance and connection that would shine brightly for years to come.